Hi courageous ones, welcome to Cooking Up Adventures and day 26 of the Veda Challenge. Today I want to share something with you that I needed. I was sort of book surfing and I came across this book called Illusions, The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah. And I wanted to share this parable that's in a parable from this book. I'll just give you the setup. There's a man, he has every confidence that he can help himself and the world. So with this confidence, he actually does. And people notice that he does this. They're like, oh my God, you're amazing. How do you do it? He's like, whatever it is I'm doing, you can do it too. It's nothing special. But they don't believe him. They just follow him around and he performs miracles. He heals people and they're like, hey man, you're amazing. He's actually a mechanic. And eventually people are constantly going to his shop to get advice for all this healing. So he can't even do his mechanic work. He ends up going to the countryside to talk to these people and tells them, you have the power to control whether you invite sickness or health into your life, poverty or wealth, freedom or slavery. Seriously, you can do this. But they wouldn't believe him. So he was like, let me give him another parable. And this is the parable. Once there lived a village of creatures along the bottom of a great crystal river. The current of the river swept silently over them all, young and old, rich and poor, good and evil, the current going its own way, knowing only its own crystal self. Each creature in its own manner clung tightly to the twigs and rocks of the river bottom, for clinging was their way of life, and resisting the current what each had learned from birth. But one creature said at last, I am tired of clinging. Though I cannot see it with my eyes, I trust that the current knows where it is going. I shall let go and let it take me where it will. Clinging, I shall die of boredom. That sound familiar? The other creatures laughed and said, fool, let go and that current you worship will throw you tumbled and smashed across the rocks, and you will die quicker than boredom. But the one heeded them not, and taking a breath, did let go, and at once was tumbled and smashed by the current across the rocks. Yet in time, as the creature refused to cling again, the current lifted him free from the bottom, and he was bruised and hurt no more. And the creatures downstream, to whom he was a stranger, cried, see, a miracle! A creature like ourselves, and yet he flies! See the Messiah come to save us all! And the one carried in the current said, I am no more Messiah than you. The river delights to lift us free if only we dare let go. Our true work is this voyage, this adventure. That's the word that got me here. But they cried, Savior! All the while clinging to the rocks. And when they looked again, he was gone. And they were left alone, making legends of a savior. So he told the people the story, and they're like, you're amazing, dude. You're the Messiah. You're amazing. They didn't get his story. Finally, he was like, you know what? I'm done. The people were like shocked, like, what? And then he said this. If a man told God that he wanted most of all to help the suffering world no matter the price to himself, and God answered and told him what he must do, should the man do as he is told? Of course, master, cried many. It should be his pleasure for him to suffer the tortures of hell itself should God ask for it. No matter what the tortures, nor how difficult the task. Honor to be hanged, glory to be nailed to a tree and burned, if so that God had asked him. And what would you do, the master said unto the multitudes, if God spoke directly to your face and said, I command that you be happy in the world as long as you live? What would you do then? They're like, what? And finally he was like, you know what? I'm done. I can't help you people. So the mechanic just said, in the path of our happiness shall we find the learnings for which we have chosen this lifetime. So it is that I've learned this day and choose to leave you now to walk my own path. Later. I just thought that was so cool. It reminded me of two things. Joseph Campbell's quote, follow your bliss. Let me get the right quote. If you do follow your bliss, you put yourself on a kind of track that's been there all the while, waiting for you. And the life that you ought to be living is the one you are living. Follow your bliss and don't be afraid. And doors will open where you didn't know there would be one. I'd like to live that way. He's the father of the hero's journey, which we're all on. And it also reminds me of this quote by Howard Thurman, also a philosopher. Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive. And go do that. Because what the world needs is more people who have come alive. I just want to digest that. I need to hear that a lot. I will put a link in the description to a video where Joseph Campbell talks about following your bliss. And that doesn't mean you're going to be giddy in a good mood every day. The creature who let go, he got banged up because a good story has a lot of conflict. I don't have answers to this. Part of Cooking Up Adventures is having that conversation with you guys and with my life. We'll all learn from it and from each other. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're new here, I'd love for you to subscribe and join us in this conversation of living a better story and following our bliss. I will see you tomorrow. Have a happy day today.